Welcome to More in the Know podcast. I'm your host, Josh Mor-In. If you don't know, now you know. Now you are more in the know. Whoo, 2021 is almost complete. 2022 is right around the corner, and this will be my last podcast, both in 2021 as well as my last podcast in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's been a blessing to be here in Nevada for the last 12 months. It's been a privilege to be able to cultivate some of the relationships that I've had the privilege of really expanding on and having the opportunity to develop new relationships that weren't even existent before I moved here. Obviously, the story about me moving here has been told a few times, and the whole entire reason why I even moved here fell through days before I came here. So I was faced with the decision, should I still go to Las Vegas, or should I lose $1,000, which wasn't really that big of a deal, stay in Arizona and stay where I'm at and figure it out? Well, all my stuff was already packed. The trailer was already on its way, and I'd already signed the lease to the apartment that I'm sitting in right now, and you can see all of the boxes behind me. And I thought to myself for a moment, well, what are the pros and the cons? And this is a learning point for anybody that's thinking about moving anywhere, especially with what we have going on. I haven't really fallen into what we have going on. Life has been normal for me for the last 3 years. Nothing's changed for me, and nothing will change moving forward. The only thing that will change is my ability to navigate this political landscape, to be able to set myself up to be in win-win situations. And I suggest for you to do exactly the same thing. So when I sat down and I saw the pros and cons of moving to Las Vegas, I thought to myself, Vegas offers me this. Staying in Arizona offers me this, and I made a list of pros and I made a list of cons. Ultimately, the pros outweighed the cons, and I decided to move here anyway. And I can tell you that this year has been absolutely the year that I required, not the year that I had romanced this year to be, but it was the year that I required spiritually, consciously, emotionally, and physically. I've essentially locked myself, barricaded myself in this one-bedroom apartment alone. I have minimal friends here. I'm sober. I don't do much other than going to the gym, as well as coming home and working and producing. Being committed to my sobriety, being committed to my recovery, being committed to my physical self, my spiritual self, and all that was enabled by me putting myself in a situation that I wasn't sure of. I didn't know what Vegas had for me if I wasn't going to do what I was going to do when I was first making the decision to move here. And that's okay, and it was exactly what I was required. So my message today is that sometimes you don't get what you want in life, you get what you require. Sometimes you don't get what you want, you get what you require. I required a year of really locking myself in a room, being committed, sitting my ass in a chair and producing results, committing to the textbooks, committing to the reading, committing to the meditation and the spiritual work, committing to myself, and having that commitment one day at a time, and practicing those simple daily disciplines one day at a time. And I required that alone, by myself, with minimal interaction with people, minimal things going on outside of myself that I was obligated to. I have no family here. I have a handful of friends, and that's really all that I have. But that's all that I have, but everything that I have at the same time, because I'm so grateful and blessed to be able to have what I have had here in Las Vegas. It's really opened my eyes to some of the relationships that were here that are no longer really existent, and the new relationships that I've been able to develop, and not replace of them, because you're never replacing people, but you're simply detaching yourself from old relationships and cultivating new ones. And that's what this has been about, is really cultivating new relationships, cultivating and navigating myself within the realm of spiritual consciousness, clarity, purpose, humility, brilliance that I know that I've had for such a long time, but I really never put it all together. This was the year that I started to really put the pieces together, and that can be you. So the message is really, if you have something that you've felt that you've been drawn to, do it. But don't go elsewhere to find happiness that's in here. And in here is inside of you. We're always searching for happiness, validation, accomplishments, getting there. When I get there, then I will do this. When this happens, then I'll be happy. When I move away from this or this, then that's going to be the magic ticket. When I just get the car, the promotion, the money, if I just get the girl, then I'm going to be happy. But ultimately, the shiny object syndrome doesn't leave you happy because the ego is in desire. And it wants to have this payoff where it's never good enough. You're going to get the promotion. You're going to get the money. You're going to move places. The grass will not be greener. But until you really go inside, internally, do the shadow work, really dive in and unravel the onion layers within your consciousness, the layers within the trauma bonds that have been created through the relationships that you've had with friends, families, perpetrators and violators, the relationships that you've had growing up when it comes to sports, the accomplishments that you think that you had or didn't have, the mistakes that you have or didn't make, that you've made or haven't made. These are all situations that lead to where you are. And until you're really able to look in within and really understanding the trauma bonds that you've begun to attach to that keep you overweight, over-obligating, under-earning, and a place of spiritual disconnectedness in your attached codependent relationships with your family members, your mother, your father that you can't let go of. Well, they're just family. It's time to really let go. And as you let go, you let God. And as you let God, you break through. And as you break through, you send the levels of consciousness that it really allows you to have clarity, purpose, passion. And these are all things that are going to be completely translated into your life. It's going to attract your soulmate. It's going to attract the business partner that you want to do commerce with. It's going to have all these different win-win situations that you absolutely deserve. This is my content 7 days, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is what I'm committed to. This is what I'm focused on every single fucking day. Why? Because this is true life. Spirituality isn't this meditation or this yoga or the ice baths or the retreats or the breath work even. That's all great. Those are all great modalities. Consciousness is practicing simple daily disciplines one day at a time and understanding within the moment, having the conscious awareness within the moment to be able to separate events that have shaped the feelings. Separate yourself from these emotional states, the etheric energy, this lower self that's been dumbed down, numbed down, and completely taken away from your root as a person, taken away from your true identity, which is self, where you no longer have to be the man or the woman. You don't require validation. You don't require accomplishments or walking the stage. You don't require the title. You don't require the shiny things or the fancy cars anymore. All that's required is just being you. That is a state of self, a being state of self, where you begin to detach yourself from the payoff, the aversion the ego seeks to have, and you step into clarity, purpose, commitment, discipline. That's at your truest nature. But if you're continually seeking validation outside yourself through codependent relationships, if you find yourself having shiny thing syndrome, it's really time to really take an introspective view of self, let go of others, make amends, grant self-forgiveness, step into honesty, step into acceptance, hire a coach, read the fucking books, do the shadow work. That's what's required of you, and that's what's required of me each and every single day. So as I finish up this podcast, it's my last one in Las Vegas. It's been a brilliant year. It's been a beautiful year for myself. I've had such an honor and privilege to be able to have such unique, unconditional relationships with many of the people that I've been able to be in contact with while I'm here in Las Vegas. I'm excited to be moving to Arizona. It's back to my roots. I'm done moving around. This year is what I required. I'm done moving around. I'm going to be in Arizona for a while. And I'm really excited to what Arizona offers in terms of the next development as it precedes what has happened here in Las Vegas. I required this 12 months to really set myself up for the next calendar year. Now, as a year approaches 2022, it's not about being the new year, new you. It's not about setting intentions and having New Year's resolutions. What it's about is just being your best self. Letting go of the critical self-talk. Letting go of the violators, the perpetrators in your life. The family members that want to keep you in chaos and codependent relationships. You don't want to be part of the codependent crew. It's time to get out of that crew. It's time to be part of the conscious crew, the clarity crew. And when you're in clarity and consciousness, you're able to see things where they're at, meet people where they are, set specific boundaries, and live your best life, and be simply your best self. Las Vegas, you've been great to me this year. Anyone who's watched this, you've been phenomenal. It's been great. For the 35 to 100 viewers that check this out every single week, I'm eternally grateful for you. Thank you so much. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to More in the Know as I really ramp this podcast up in the next 12 months. You're going to see one podcast every single week, as well as some more collaborations as we head into the next calendar year. Now, I speak these things into existence, and I will do every single one of them, as should you. Step into a body that's committed. Step out of your weak self. No more being a weak dick, a limp dick. It's time to really step into your power of self. Really step into the true nature of who you are. And when you step into that power, you release all those low levels of esteem, the fear, guilt, rejection, abandonment, unresolved feelings of apathy and grief. And you step into your higher self of acceptance. You step into courage and reasoning and objection. You step into love, joy, and bliss. You step into your higher self where you begin to be more interconnected with source energy, have more energy, live and be in relaxed intensity. That is the purpose and meaning of life. With that being said, thank you all for tuning in weekly, bi-weekly, once a month, once every 4 months. Check out my TikToks, my Instagram, sharing all of these. I love you so much. Bless you through this end of 2021. And I'm blessing you with an abundant start to 2022. You deserve it, one day at a time. Be committed to the process. Be committed to your best self. Sit your ass in the chair. Produce the results that's required to live your dreams. Because you got the fucking juice, baby. Now go out and do it. Love you all.